Hola film family, it's xIsusko Garcia, aka the Time Scheduler. Just wanted to say thank you all for listening. Going to be dropping one a week. Feel like it'll be Thursdays that I'll be doing them because work is coming back slowly, but normal life is also coming back slowly. So 5 a day will probably not happen now for a little while. As promised, this intro is going to be dedicated to those who dropped the most or the largest amounts of money for me to do the charity walk, which I did last Friday, and it went well. It was tough. The last kind of 5 hours of walking were just insane, but to Bugsy and Reese at Twice Pictures, thank you so much. That first massive hit of cash coming in really gave the injection, getting close to that $2,500 I wanted to get. Jay Lusser, Elvin Prentice, Alan Hopkins, Jack Driver, Tony Crouch, and then there's an anonymous who is part of this 3-figure club who I really want to know who you are, and I'd love to say thank you to you in person or just personally instead of just being anonymous. But we smashed the 2.5k. We're nearly at 4k, so I'm going to leave it open for another week. So go check it out. Link in the bio. All the other shout outs at the end of the ep.
Let's get started.
Happy?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here we go.
Is this video ever going to go out anywhere?
No, the video won't go out anyway. Don't worry.
Okay,
You
cool.
look fresh.
Right,
You're all good though.
Cheers.
So, ladies and gentlemen, film family, welcome. We're going to have an amazing podcast today. Another one. I guess firstly, thank you all for listening. Thank you for keeping us in the charts. I got in my hometown in Spain. We got the charts in there. So big up España. Thank you very much. And we're going to talk to someone who I've had the privilege of running with and working with, and just seeing how he works and the energy he has on set is just phenomenal. And also it's going to be a nice one for me because it's going to be someone who has dreams and aspirations of doing things much, it's like I'm not even gonna speak for him because I want you to hear his voice. So I'm gonna stop. So thank you for coming on. What is your name and what's your role on the call sheet?
xIsusko. Thanks for having us on. My name's Ato Yankey, and on the call sheet, quite a few things: second AD, first AD, director. As well, interchangeable.
So, and that's I was going to kind of lead in and have a chat about that before you mentioned it, but I thought no, that's best. I want to hear it from you, and also that we'll talk about how you got in a bit. But I just love the fact that you do those roles. Do you find it easy to interchange between the three? Do you sometimes you're on set and you're directing, you're like, I'm going to do a bit of first, and when you're second, you do. How do you put the different hats on?
You know what? It does come more naturally than you'd think. Especially the jumping from first in to directing. Because when I'm first in, it's quite a lot of music promos, younger directors, ambitious videos, no budget, not the rough resources, not enough crews, which is brilliant. That's how you cut your teeth in it. But I'm, I tend to be the person saying, no, don't do that. That's a bit silly. No, of course you can't get a 16-year-old to drive a car firing fireworks out the window. That's not going to happen in this environment. But this is how we can make it happen. Blah blah blah. But as a director, you'd think that I'd learn a lot from being a first AD and apply that, but you find yourself writing a shot list and you're like, okay, cool. So 60 shots, we can do this. 60 shots, we've got 10 hours. If we do one shot every 5 minutes, and then but I suppose the first AD thing does kick in a little bit because you step back and you're no, put your first AD hat on. Stop being so reckless. Obviously, keep that ambition. But yeah, and then when I'm on set as well, I'm lucky enough to work with some top first ADs. Big up Andrew Vanek, big up Christopher Riley.
There they are
as well, who helped us on our shoot. So because I know them, I trust them. As a director, then you can just get on do your thing and concentrate the job in hand, and let everybody else like worry about the logistics, which at first was like a bit of a hard thing to do, especially when you're producing and directing your own stuff and you get into lunchtime.
You forgot to say producer in your intro. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, I produce because I have to, like, because like a lot of the stuff that I've done is super low budget, so it's not necessarily through choice; it's a necessity. I think I'm pretty good at it, but like I make budgets go far, but I wouldn't ever want to be a producer. I don't think it's not really my vibe. Just but what was I getting at? So you're gonna have a lot of this. I lose my train of thought.
That's all cool. I'd love to start finding out then how you got in. So what's, everyone has that little like for some people it was like, I was a teenager and I watched the film and I wanted to be in the film industry, or there was a mentor that I had at college that do film. So what was your starting point? What was your seed to want to become I guess want to become a director or an AD or just get into the industry?
I think there's like two notable moments in my life, like where I knew, or like the combination of two allow me to discover what it was I wanted to do. Like one was when I was at senior school. Remember doing a geography project, and my mate Ozzy had a video camera, like a home video camera. And we decided rather than writing an essay together, we'd make a video.
Nice.
We submitted it. I think we got like an A for it. We just realized we don't need to write anything. Like we can just start doing video essays. So started doing video essays at senior school instead of doing real work.
Brilliant.
I suppose it's questionable day that do we do real work as xIsusko?
Kind of.
But then getting into my sister went to the Brit school.
Nice.
And she was studying like media and music, and she moved away, and that was that gave me a lot of inspiration to like move into like I loved
seeing her do it then, or did you go to the school with it? Like how did that spark something?
So I always loved music, and I did. It wasn't until my sister went out and did that it sort of registered. Oh, hang on a sec! Like this is, there's steps. This is what people do. There's steps towards like being in the music industry or being in the film industry, and it just made it feel like a lot more tangible. I think that's like really, really important. And I probably would want to delve into this maybe a bit later in the podcast and about the problems that we have with representation on set. Is because I think where we lack in certain areas of representation, they like if you're like I'm going to talk particularly about Black and brown people. Like if you don't have people in your life that you see doing that, like the movie industry, it just seems like a dream, doesn't it? Like if you watch a movie on TV, there's no way that you'd ever imagine that you'd be involved in like an Avengers movie. But runners on an Avengers set, like they don't they don't necessarily have a qualification or a particular like a specific skill set. It's just it's just like hard work, using your noggin, a bit of common knowledge, and a bit of a passion to sort of be there. So yeah, it's important, I think, especially at a young age, to be able to for people to be able to see the kind of people they could be and the potential they could have. So I think my sister did that for me. Amazing. Like when I was younger.
Have you told her?
I never tell her anything. I never tell her how amazing she is. Actually, I'm not sure if I told her. I do tell her she's amazing. She is amazing. Big up Esi Yankey. She's a spoken word poet and an activist, mother of two, and just an amazing. Powerful human being.
There you go. You told her now.
Love you, Esi.
So how did that? What her sparking that in you? That kind of or seeing that it was possible, what was then what were your next steps? How did you what was the process of kind of going, yes, I can do this, to then doing it?
So then after that, I was just like, I like saw my sister like went to study like music and media. I was like, I want to work in music. I don't know what I want to do. I can't really play an instrument, but I got I got a real vibe and passion for it. And then I looked at like doing music at college, and then they were like, "Oh, you're gonna have to do a rendition of something like music production. You have to play an instrument." I was like, "Couldn't do it," and I was like, "Okay, cool. What else? Media, yeah, that seems like a good channel to go down." So I ended up going to college and doing media. There's like loads of like filming and editing. I remember like editing when we're using VHS decks.
Love it.
And go. Some people out there might not actually realize how old I am, but when I was at college, we did linear editing, like from one tape to another, and we just had access to cameras. Used to go out and film all sorts of shit, and I just really got a passion for music video. I loved like Hype Williams at the time, everything he was doing with like Busta Rhymes and Missy Elliott.
Like the first £1 million. No, that was Waterfalls, didn't he? But he was like, every time I saw Hype Williams, I need a yacht and I need a load of just sexy looking people to just dance around. You're like, okay, it's a cool video. That's it. That was it. That was his treatment, one page.
I don't think you give him enough credit. It's not all about sexy women in yacht. Like if you look at something like Busta Rhymes, Give Me Some More, that fish angle lens and all those crazy costumes, set designs and colours, like that was a huge inspiration. Obviously the Missy Elliott videos, like the dance routines and the production designs on that were just they were so epic. So like I just wanted to get into like, oh yeah, did he do Scream as well? Was that Hype? Who did with Michael Jackson?
And Janet Jackson.
Is it them?
Yeah, wasn't that like $15 million?
Do you know the story behind why that cost so much?
No, go on.
So it's just Michael Jackson not turning up. So imagine
Classic.
that production, all of the like how big that set was, like how much crew they must have been on that, and it was just like crew on retainer. They were just like turning up to set, and then Michael kind of come to say, don't know, and then they'll just be there the whole day, and they'll be like, right, he's not coming, that's a wrap. And that's why it actually costs so much money. Not
because the idea was amazing, or as in, it was like a $15 million. It was probably like $1 million idea to just spread over 15 days. They're like, mother, but he probably paid for it, didn't he? It's like there's like some famous footballers, when they don't turn up for a sports brand or whatever, they just pay the day's fee. It's just like, how much is the day's fee? It's this. All right, well, there you go, have that and a little bit more, and I'll turn up next week.
It's not much of a penalty. I'd like back in the day, I would have waited around for days to be on a Michael Jackson video.
Oh God,
times have changed, eh? Oh. So I just wanted to get into music videos. So I started like shooting music videos. Went to university. Like any time I could sort of attach a project to a music video, I'd do it. And then I think had like my first ever experience on a set was just after university, and there was a director. He's still knocking about today, I think. I hear his name pop up every now and again. He did loads of like grime, like sort of that interim between before grime was really grime, and it was like sort of transitioning from garage. So you had like people like Pirelli and Sway and all those boys. So I used to do a lot of those videos. And the first music video that we did, I think like there were 3 different artists over 5 days, and I didn't get paid a penny.
Wow.
And it was late.
Were you running on it?
Yeah, running. And it was, do you know that studio that I'm going to say it, that really shit studio like in East London, like so
you started and then you checked yourself, and then it was like, I just saw the little hamster wheel kind of turn in your hand. You're like, can I say it? You can say whatever you want on this.
It's gone now though, isn't it? It's not there anymore. It's moved or changed. But yeah, we were there, and it was I think it was before it was a studio. It was just a warehouse, And you know, like going in, if you've ever shot there, like the access is terrible. You have to walk through all these warehouses where residents and shit live. Getting all kittens, fucking pain in the ass. But back then, it was just a warehouse. There was nothing in it. Like, you know, bird shit everywhere,
Oh
water on the
God.
floor, and we had to get in. We actually had to get a sledgehammer and smash down a wall so we could get in this 4x4 that was being used, and it, like, you know, you could just about get a Rizzler between the wing mirrors and the doorway, and then during lunch I was just like exploring around, and there was like a weed farm which was like
Amazing.
inside the warehouses. They picked the crop already, unfortunately. But yeah, and then it just, next thing I know, it turned to
To be fair, that's a
studio.
really clever thing. It's like, why are you using so much electricity? Oh, it's a film studio. You know, why is there so much? Oh, the lights. It's the lights. That's why it's snowing in December and the roof's just actually. That's a really smart thing to be doing if you want to be doing that.
So yeah, so like we shot there for like five, I think, like maybe 3 days there with two different artists, another 2 days on another location. And yeah, just like being on set, I was just super curious. Like I think most of us are when we first like enter the industry, asking every department, "What are you doing? What's that? What's that?" You know, probably pissing off like more people than you should do. But then off the back of that, I started like, do you know Spark Christian Hayes? Do you know
Does
him?
ring a bell? Yeah.
So he started getting me on jobs as like a bit of an unofficial Spark trainee and stuff, because I was like, what's that like do? What's that like do? And then Robin Van Kelkar, remember him? He was on Cool Bots, the old Dutch stallion.
I haven't seen him in a little while actually, because I used to run with him a lot, and then he kind of created this like DJ / runner DJ thing for when we were doing jobs with Tractor, and they like to have music playing. And he was directing, so he was directing, and it was great for him because, you know,
him
so
Mike.
Mike
Simpson, I want to say.
Okay.
They called themselves Micro, as in Mike Robert.
Clever.
Micro Productions. Right?
Nice. So what did Robin? How did he just get you on jobs as well as a? Because you've done like producing, directing, running, seconding, firsting. You've been a little bit of a spark. I kind of feel like you need to do a bit of makeup and wardrobe here. You need to collect. You need to like finish the collection.
I've done a bit of wardrobe. I've been known, like, you know, on some shoots, but yeah, like Robin was my really, and I think like he was the one. I think after, because he always worked for this director as well, so he was on Cool Box, and then after that stint of like 5 music videos or whatever for 0 money, I remember on one of the days actually, before I carry on, like we finished at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And then and then we had to be in the next day for like 8 o'clock or something like that. But where I was living at the time, I couldn't physically get in because of the buses. And I felt so guilty, and I was so apologetic, like leaving this warehouse at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was just like, I'm really sorry, I'm not going to be able to get in for Cool. Like, I'm not getting paid a thing. Got another like 4 days to go.
Wow.
And they were like, yeah, just chill, man. It's fine. Thanks for helping
Thanks for staying
out.
till 1 in the morning for no money.
Yeah, sweet, like rain machines in a bird shit ridden studio, well, warehouse. It wasn't. Yeah.
Like that, even with that kind of environment, you still loved it. You still wanted to come back. Is that the little thing that just, it's like a switch, isn't it? You just get switched in the back and you're like, yeah, you're for the industry. If you like this, click, there you go. You're in.
I was about to say I don't see what there is not to like, but then just thinking about what I just said, bird shit and late hours, but yeah, you got to love it, haven't you? Really, we don't get this far without.
Is that one of like a lightning bolt for you then, that you knew that you wanted to, that you were in the right place? Was it quite an early on thing?
yeah, that was because after leaving university, I was still actually torn between whether or not I wanted to be an editor or a director. I edit as well when I
There you
animate.
go. Right, I think we've just hit double figures. So no, single figures, but I'm on my second hand. So I'm counting all the roles here. It's going to be like the longest title. Normally, I'd just kind of be like someone or other, /DIT. And now it's just there's going to be too many fucking job titles for you.
I think just put does stuff.
Just
I think that's the appropriate.
doer of
Ato
stuff.
Yankey does stuff. But yeah, sorry, what was I saying? So
lightning bolt.
Yeah. So being on the set, like I knew straight away that I didn't want to be an editor. Like I didn't want to be. I didn't know wholeheartedly that I necessarily wanted. I think like producer was still a debate at the time. But I knew from that moment I wanted to be like on set, 100% getting involved. So I just love about sets is it's just like on our job is just like the collaboration. It's just it's so good.
Those lightning bolt moments that you had on set, because you'd done so many of the other roles, was there ever one that you were like, oh yeah, I do want to be a Spark, or I do want to be an AD, or has it always just been that light at the end of the tunnel is directing, and you've tasted everything else because why not?
Well, I like quite stupidly, like at the beginning of working in the industry, which I think is a very common mistake, that the ranking doesn't go third AD, second AD, first AD, director. It's like not how it sort of works. But in the early days, I just saw the roles and I was just like, okay, cool. I'll sort of slip into that. And you got to see every department. After speaking, Robin gave me a lot of advice. He was like, if you're unsure, then yeah, just take this route. It's the best way to like learn as much as you can. And I think, I think that's sort of invaluable. As much as I would love to have like sort of maybe started on dramas and get more of a discipline and the structure than you get in commercials, to be able to like dip in and grab like nuggets of knowledge from all different departments, have access to the knowledge, but also access to those people. Like I've got friends from every department and like all of those are on my Facebook, and I'm sure like if you've ever fucking read my Facebook, it's usually me asking for odd and weird shit for my low budget music videos.
Has anyone got an inflatable flamingo, but it needs to look like Elvis? And you're like, okay.
Exactly. No, like one that doesn't look as shy. I need a bold, confident, like something like that. And I'm really fortunate to have friends in like all those different departments, and it's not just asking favors. It's just there as a sort of a wealth of knowledge, like people you can turn around to and get their opinion. And like going back to what I love about being on sets is that sense of collaboration, knowing that you're working alongside some of the most skilled people like in the country who are mega at what they do, and to create something that not one of you could do by yourself. And like I think that is absolutely magical.
Does it change between being a director? Does that attitude change when you're being a first to being a director? So what was it like? I saw it was it end of last year, beginning of this year, you kind of dropped a promo that looked amazing. I saw some of the stills and it was black and white. And is that
that's what I did with Jack Carr, me and Jack, lovely man, aka Mr. Our directing duo. It was missing. Do you remember that track by Everything But the Boy? Like, and I miss you.
Never miss the rain.
So yeah, it was a cover of that song, and we didn't really have any money. Didn't have so we couldn't really pay for location. We got just about had a camera and managed to persuade this awesome dancer / choreographer called Keats Katika. She's an amazing individual. I could talk of another like half an hour, 2 hours about her. But but yeah, we just kind of had to work within our restrictions. We come up with this idea of so the song "Missing" is about a broken relationship, basically. If you haven't heard the song, but it's also like the artist is like longing after the times which she'd lost in a relationship that was there, and we sort of figured that, you know, the destructiveness for hanging on and lingering, and what's the difference between love and lust and like addiction, and how like, you know, being in relationships can be like a beautiful thing, but also they could become quite cyclical, can't they? Like if especially in a destructive relationship, you can find yourself in the same spot being hurt again and again, but you know, you're a sucker for it, and you kind of and you end up in, like, sort of trapped in a loop, and you have to, like, you know, it's really difficult, but you have to sort of, first of all, before you can break that loop, you have to realize that you're in one in the first place, and then break free of that. So we figured out a way which we thought, I think it works. I think it was quite cool, but we just did, like, it's been done before again, but had this sort of groundhog like day thing. So I think we've picked in rehearsals, we picked like 8 bars. I can't remember how much what the duration that we figured out. It took a lot of working out because some of the choruses and the bridges and like didn't have the same amount of bars in them, so we had to figure out like how to progress the dance, like how short or long for this routine to be, so we could loop it throughout the video.
Nice.
And it would fit sort of nicely. So I think I got ahead of myself a little bit there, but so figured out this routine with Keeks, and the idea was that she'd move through this space and dance and make her way to this river, but every time she gets to the river, she just loops back to the beginning. And we always use the same camera angles, the same framings, but the way that the story changed is as she kept on doing it, she started having a realization that she's trapped in the loop, and her dance moves, even though they're the same, they start evolving and changing and become more explosive and combative, and she starts to try and fight to break the loop. And then right at the end, she breaks the loop, she makes it to the river, and obviously water is a brilliant symbolization for new beginnings, rebirth, and all that stuff. And that was like the end of the video.
Where can people see it? Where can the listeners watch it?
You can have a look at any of my work on www.mrmrofficial.com.
Boom.
And most of it's up there, I think.
Nice.
Probably too much. I've told I have to like whittle down and, you know, curate yourself a little bit more.
Well, get yourself like not a theme, but a style. Is that what you mean by that? Is that, you know, your website should have a specific style that you do?
No, like I've had like comments before that, you know, you should only ever have like four or 5 videos that you've done up at a time, and just like, you know, don't be afraid to take the old ones out, or just like leave the ones which are most relevant. But you know, I don't sound like a dick. I quite like my videos. I want people to see them.
Why would you? What's the point?
Like, I like, obviously when you finish a video sometimes, and a lot of my videos, majority of my videos, like, you know, they're not no more than like $2,000. I think like the most I've had like maybe $3,000. It's nothing. That's why like I end up self-producing quite a lot of it, but make it go quite a long way. And I feel that you wouldn't even really be able to tell how little money, but that comes with like a lot of favors, and that sort of boils back down to that Facebook community and asking people and like, relying on people to help you out. And these are the projects that I really, really love, because like, you remember like why you got into the industry in the first place. You know, like when you're on commercial sets, like quite often people are like, where, like, it's been going on too long, where's lunch, where's that, blah, 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 because you're at work and you're getting paid. And sometimes that magic sort of, I think, is forgotten.
Yeah.
But then being on music, like the one that we were just talking about, the missing one, we had this focus pillar called Justin, and he's like from South Africa. We needed someone to help us out. Had no money. He's just like in transition in between like being South African over here. I think he's probably in South Africa now because of this whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
And I think we got in contact with Sue's Cruise or something, and he just got in contact with us, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm up for doing the job." And we were like, "That just so you know, like we haven't, like no one's getting paid, like none of the crew are getting paid. We've got like 1,500 quid or something like that." And he was like, "Yeah, I'm up for it." And I was like, "That I'd love to have you on board, but I just out of courtesy, I'm just going to get in contact with my DP and see, see if he's happy to have you, because he's not my department, is it? Like just a
it's
formality."
Respectful.
And he sent me his CV, and he's been like camera operating on like big feature films in like South Africa and stuff. And I was like, fuck, like why does he want to help us out? And he came onto set, and I almost didn't have him because I was so nervous that he was going to be like kicking off that we didn't have this, we didn't have that. It was like so run and gun. We almost even got chucked off the location. That's another story. But he was like the loveliest dude.
Amazing.
Like he was just in it. He knew what he was getting into, and he smashed it. And everybody as well. We had like Amber Childs as well doing our makeup, like big up.
Yep.
And she brought her sister down. They came all the way up from Brighton.
Wow.
To help us, like with no money, but the energy on the set was amazing. Like there was so much love because everybody was there because they wanted to be there, and they were there, just for the film, and that reminds me why I absolutely love this sort of industry, and I'm sort of going to try and like cherish that as much as I can while I still got it, because obviously as you sort of move up the ranks maybe or get bigger projects, you're not always going to necessarily have that luxury of like to have that vibe when you get client and agency and there's more money involved, and it gets a serious business. So I'm just loving that.
I could just see in a few years' time, it's like you'll be directing and you halfway through the morning and you'll just turn to the first lady and be like, "When's lunch?" And then it's like, and we'll just have to remind you, like, dude, remember the love and the fucking passion. Don't forget that.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time I won't even eat when I'm working. I'm too much to think about. I'm sure you have it
the energy. When I first started firsting, you're like, oh god, I can't eat. And when I first started second, it was like, I can't eat breakfast because I'm, you just had the butterflies, and you're just like, if I sit down and I eat, I'm going to miss something, and I can't, Yeah, man, totally get that.
I can't even remember what sparked that tirade. I'm sure you just asked me how I was.
I love it, but this is what I love about the podcast, like having the chat with the podcast. It's not just like, I'm sorry, I need to ask 10 questions and it's 3 minutes an answer. Like it's cool. It's your ep, man, and you're getting your story out. Now, with that in mind, what would you say to your younger self? This is one of the questions I've got down. So, what advice have you got for the younger you that was 16 at that point where it just been doing the grind? I've been doing the grind videos and you weren't getting paid. What would you say to that you?
You know what? I think at that time, I don't think I'd say much. I think what I was doing was like pretty spot on at the time for me. I think maybe a bit later on.
Okay.
Like, are we talking about life? Or are we talking about like industry, like related stuff?
I like to leave it as an open question, because some people have got one of each, or just one topic that they want to, some people, advice to their younger self was don't take acid. Well, that's got nothing to do with the industry, but that's their advice to their younger self. Other people have got very specific. So, I like to just leave it as an open question, because it's, and I shouldn't have even said 16. So just what would be your advice to your younger self?
I think like strong advice is like maybe to let's go with myself entering the industry, because I love my life, like absolutely. Like even I went to university, I never really used my degree in what I like to get any work or whatever. So let's go like for entering the industry. I think one massive thing is just just be yourself. Like just absolutely be yourself. I remember when I first came in, like, I'm from Essex originally. I mean, some people hear it, other people don't, but my Essex accent used to be a lot broader than it was. But I remember being on like commercial sets and just hearing people being quite well spoken and stuff. Like, and I just felt out of place. I felt that my accent made me sound stupid.
So did you use your phone voice? Everyone's got a phone voice, you know.
Yeah, totally. I use my phone voice, and some of it's really stuck. Like I never used to say my T's mid words, like later, matter, water, none of that. It was always water, later, mate. Like and so actually, I quite like that. I quite like saying my T's now. But yeah, it was just this worry that I wouldn't fit in or be accepted, and in some ways I changed myself for that, and it took me a while to realize that it didn't matter. I can't remember who it was. I think like maybe I might have been on set with like Chris Kelly or someone.
Legend.
And just like, yeah, big up Chris. I think, and just like hearing the way that he like talked, like he was obviously unashamedly like him, wasn't he? Like there's no airs and graces. And I remember being like, oh wow, like you're doing a pretty important job, and you seem to just be being yourself. So I can like learn from that. So yeah, that's one thing. Just like try and like be yourself. And also I think like one of the biggest things, like as like speaking to the young director in me, is don't think or not whether something's going to be shit or good, just do it. Like I felt like working in commercials, you're so lucky, like you get to work with like all these incredible bits of kits and rigs and sets and like all these really convoluted ways to get a shot, and then it's done so well. It's done like, you know, it's to a huge standard, and then you go to shoot something yourself with like 200 quid, and you're like, why doesn't it look like this? Like,
where's the techno crane?
Yeah, and then you sort of get a little bit. I felt very like insecure about showing people what I'd done, and then I think a bit of a going back to like lightning bolt moment. There's been a couple, but yeah, I was really drunk at home, and I found my old YouTube like channel thing. It's still out there from when I was like 16.
Amazing.
And I started looking back at the videos that I made, and like fundamentally, yeah, they're not brilliantly crafted at all. They're kind of shit, but I was just like, it just like brought back memories that I didn't really. If I had an idea, if in my head I pictured a crane shot, then I'd try my best to figure out how to do a crane shot, and it would look nothing like a crane shot. But I wouldn't let anything like put any restrictions in my way.
Yeah.
And like looking back at that, you could just like, you know, you could just see within the video sort of like the honesty and freedom in which I made it.
Yep.
And that was just like, I need to be able to tap into that again. So in some ways it's like, you know, you're asking if I could go back, what would I change? I wish like my younger self could maybe talk to my older self at some point and give me some advice.
Look at that
really
flipping it. Oh,
flip reverse it.
Flip reverse.
Squad, mate.
Jeez. 10 multiplied by 2 plus 1.
Wrong undone.
Wrong undone. Okay, guys, that's the end of the episode. I just want to say no. I did like I guess we're kind of getting close. Weirdly, Zoom has this counter up from the moment that I open Zoom. So it says an hour and 10, but I don't think we've been an hour and 10. But it must mean that we're kind of close to at least the 40-ish minute mark.
Okay.
And I guess the last
Shit,
kind of, yeah, I know, the last bit that I kind of wanted to just touch base on was I always love to give the floor to give any kind of shout outs to anyone or anything like that. But just before we went into there, I just wanted to touch base on what you were speaking about earlier about representation. Because you put a post out on Facebook, which really kind of, I'd say basically opened my eyes to it all. And I just think it's a really important subject. And I don't feel like I was going to kind of, I want to hear people's stories about it. And I feel like I'm able to, with this podcast, I'm hoping I can just give as many people from as many different backgrounds and orientation, like all of that. I want to give them the chance to kind of speak their truth and give them their voice. So I just want to touch on that before the end, if that's cool.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I guess like if you haven't read like my Facebook post, it was like, well, if you haven't read my Facebook post, I don't really air out personal stuff. Like I said, it's mainly I need this for a video. Help me out with that. I often feel like with Facebook, you know, when you read people's opinions, either the people that read them don't want their minds changed at all, or the people that read them agree with you anyway. So I sort of feel like what's sort of the point, but
yeah.
In and amongst what's going on with protests, I think how systematic racism is being highlighted, and for some people actually being recognised for the first time, which is mental. I and people were watching, so I thought I'll put up a post. What can I put up? And I just listed like the examples of things that I've experienced myself when being on set as a runner. I won't go through them all. I might not even go through any of them. So I guess like there's a problem on set. Like racism still exists on sets, whether it be blatant, in your face. You know, a fucking rigger or a grip or whatever saying some pretty fucking heinous shit that nobody speaks up against, or whether it's misogyny on set, people being inappropriate, which happens like far too much. Things sort of need to change, and just like one way to do that is to, like, some people don't know they're doing it. Like some people do need like an education, and I thought if I put up this post, then it will go a little way to at least do something about it. At least it will highlight some stuff. And it got like I posted it on my main Facebook first, but then I was like, you know what, like if I'm doing this for a reason, I should be posting it elsewhere. So I posted it on Commercial Runners page, posted it on the ADA page, and I got like some really positive responses.
Good.
Like got speaking with Jay Arthur, who you've had the pleasure of having on your show. Very
legend, man. Lovely,
very
lovely
incredible
man.
gentleman. Who's with the Bec2 branch, about sort of what we can do to sort of change things or steps we can take. And Jay's already got like a plan. Like he's got some incredible ideas to how we can work towards better representation on set. I think like the main bits are just getting people through the door. Like, you know, if you've got a diverse set, then, you know, people like, well, I suppose the hope is that people will become educated through social interaction, or like when the dynamic changes, the voice changes on set. So it's about getting people through the door so they can also climb up the ladder, find themselves in a position of power where they're able to make like kind of bigger decisions that have greater impact. So yeah, like been talking with Jay about that.
Was it easy to and I guess was it easy to write? Was it easy to post? I know some people, as you mentioned before, you don't really like to post personal stuff, and that feels like quite a powerful post to kind of be putting up for someone that doesn't really like to open themselves up much online.
Yeah, I was just fucking sick of the shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like all of the stuff that's going on, and with like, you know, I've been on the marches and that, and it's just like, what can you do? Like, you need to, like, you know, you need to like use whatever resources you have at hand. Like, I always like looked at this problem as such a big problem, that what can you fucking do to help things, like, and sometimes it feels futile. I mean, it's only just now we've got those fucking football hooligans which are going to march down to London to shit on everything, but it's like, what can you do? Like, what can you do? And I think being one of 5 people, maybe 6 people on call box, so 6 out, I think like 5 or 6 out of 140 runners and ADs, there's like 5 black or brown people.
Wow.
Like, yeah. And it's sort of reflective on the industry as a whole. But I suppose because of that, because I'm one of the few brown people within the AD department, especially in the industry, I think people know who I am, and especially in this climate where a lot more people are willing to listen and to, you know, to become allies and make changes, that I felt speaking out on Facebook was actually somewhere because somewhere I could go where I'd actually be heard. And like on Facebook, it's like, for me, it's like LinkedIn. I don't really use it for social shit. Everybody on there, apart from people that I've met on holiday, maybe, are all crew members, all creative people. So yeah. So I thought I'd get this message out, and then people asked me what they can do to help, and I was just like, shit, what can I do to help? Like, what can we do pragmatically? And like I said, like, one big thing's like representation, just filling the floor with the people that aren't there that should be there. I think part of this that I've been talking to with Jay is about open reach, how to let people know that there's an industry there for them. It's not something that's really exclusive. Having, like I said again, like with the way that my sister inspired me by going to the Brit school and doing that, and for me seeing that it's something tangible. Like, I know there's been outreach programs before where people go out to schools and go, you can be part of the industry. But if you're like a black kid in London, and the person doing that is some middle class like white dude, you wouldn't necessarily be sure they're even talking to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, are they talking to me, or are they talking to that person next to you? So it's about like reaching out, but also I think like reaching out and showing them the tangibility that somebody like themselves can be within the industry. So I mean, though, like, I literally just had one phone call with Jay Arthur. So this whole thing, I've been just speaking to as many people as I can to try and get shit done. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So if anybody out there like wants to get on board and help me, like, yeah, please get in contact. Ato Yankey at gmail.com. Links in the description. But what other moves, like, I just got off the phone with Dan Giblin from for the AD bootcamp thing that he does. If you don't know about it, it's just almost like a traineeship for runners.
Floor Runners Bootcamp. I think it's floorrunnersbootcamp.com. I know there's definitely a Facebook page. Josie Jacobs spoke about it as well. So go and check out Josie's listeners. I think it's, dude, I think it's amazing. And I think what you're going to start doing, and this could be this feels like it's a lifetime project, and it's something that, you know, looking at it you kind of think, well, you as the 16-year-old you may not have had hundreds of people that you saw working in the film industry, but actually with the small changes that one person can make, and if all those one people can make those small changes, then it's that having the person that looks like you that you can relate to. It's just super important, and it's more than just. It's more than this is the little switch that's happened, but it needs to not just suddenly become old news because COVID's over and everyone's back to normal and all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? Ladies and gents, if you can help, or if you've got, what kind of help are you looking for?
Just like, so for instance, I was saying like Dan Giblin's just pledged 2 spaces in his boot camp to help increase representation. So there'll be
amazing
for specific, like to ensure spaces for women and for like Black, Asian, like brown people, like within the course, which is like every little sort of bit helps. And then I've just been speaking with Just Runners, like Paul McClune.
Nice.
And he like hopefully we can like work together with outreach into, because he's already, so basically, if you don't know what Just Runners is, they try to create open access to people in the industry for women, for different ethnicities, for disability, like people that have disabilities as well. So he's like just affording time. What I suppose, what I should say, if you want to help, like what sort of thing we're looking for, just anything really. I think the most important thing is that everybody, if you feel that you've got something to offer, then we need to start talking with each other and just figuring out how we can help each other and how we can help the cause. Like I said, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I guess what would be good, like somebody with experience in organizing. I mean, I know I first, and that is an organization job in
and
itself.
I'm a producer and also a creative director.
But I think like this is a different kind of organization.
Yeah.
Like,
nice.
So if anybody wants to help, get in contact. And as well, what I would say I know I'll like Jacqueline, I'll be reaching out to you, AK, Nana, obviously Andrew Vanek, I'm always talking to you. But other people of black and brown minorities that work within like film crew, if I don't get in contact with you, give me a shout. Do you have like email descriptions and shit?
Yeah, I'll put it in the Insta, and then on Facebook and LinkedIn, it's then a clickable link. But on the Instagram, they can't click the links. But yes, I'll put anything that you want in your bio. You can go in the bio. Cool,
wicked. So yes, if you're black and brown working in the industry, I think like for me predominantly on set, but any department, I want to hear your experiences and your ideas for how we can change things. Because as well, I think like the representation thing, getting people through the door, that like seems like a relatively easier step than the more difficult one is like, what can we do now and how do we change attitudes on set? Like what language people use, like what language, like I don't want to be like a policeman and say you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. But I just think like people are unaware about the language they use, the impact that it has on people, and like not just to the people that is receiving like these negative comments or actions, but also the impact it has to the other people around you, the influence you can have, and the group mentality that you can create. So I guess like for example, like I was speaking with my friend Naomi yesterday, and amongst friends, like so you xIsusko, like you're Spanish, I'm brown, like I'm African. Like if we're close friends, we might have a joke about your heritage and my heritage if we're close enough. But on set, not everybody knows people's dynamics. People don't know how close they are. It's like a place of work. So if you're making like a racially or sexist fueled joke, then yeah, like it's fine amongst friends. But sometimes you got to think at work, like you don't know who's listening, they don't know what your dynamic is, and you know they might think that it's common behaviour, especially if like you're a runner or something. That, and you know, sometimes these jokes get made towards people that, even though we are fully grown adults, don't have the confidence to stand up and speak out and say that they feel hurt or they feel uncomfortable, because you know, especially like if you're at the bottom, like you don't want to you don't want to rock the boat, like you don't want to rock the boat. You want to be employed again. And, you know, if you're on a set and fucking like David Beckham's just kicking, like next to you kicking the ball around, you think you're in the, you know, you feel that you're in the big leagues, and so and there's one of your seniors like saying or doing something quite heinous, then you're not really going to be in a position to argue against that or feel comfortable enough to do that. So what is my point? I think I would say like there's too much, I think, to solve over one podcast, but I'd make a request.
We're starting though, as you said, it's a starting point.
Yeah, I'll make a request. Like, let's summarize. Like, if you want to do anything, then like find me, email me. Let's just have a chat, even if it's just a brief old discussion. And then as well,
specifically people of color, but also if, you know, white people want to help, if you know anyone wants to kind of get in touch and see what they can do and have a chat with you, that's cool.
Anybody, not even specifically people of color. Like people of color, I wouldn't even say people of color. So sorry,
is that
so? No, I mean, there's, and this as well is nothing that will make it difficult for a lot of people, because there's some terminologies that like kind of like black and brown people use that I'm not even like sort of 100% on board. It is a bit of a mindful, and it takes like open ears and open mind and just like willingness to listen. But yeah, I'd say anybody, black and brown people, get in touch, let me know about experiences. But yeah, it doesn't matter if you're not black and brown. If you want to help, you want to help. Like, this situation is going to be solved by everybody working together. So even if you don't know how you can help, what you can do, just get on the phone and let's just have a chinwag. I mean, I'm all right conversationalist. I can drag on a little bit sometimes, but you never know what will come out of it.
It's the ramblings. It's like, that's cool. I love it, because out the ramblings, there's always little nuggets that someone's going to take away, and I love it from the whole podcast. All your story, everything that you've done, the kind of the love of what you do, the attitude to just fucking going for it. You know, that story is going to resonate with students, media students, film students across the land. It's like, yeah, he did, 16-hour days, and he got there by bus, and he had to work hard. So I thank you for one, for your time, and two, for being so open and honest and speaking so eloquently about everything, and not dropping your T's. That's the main thing that I want to say thank you for.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So look, last thing, I always give the floor to the guest. Any thank yous, anything that you want to kind of give a shout out to? I step away from the mic on my roller chair. The floor is yours.
First off, like, just going back, like what we can do to help change attitudes on set. If you really want to, there's some awesome literature out there. British by Afua Hirsch. It's like a brilliant read. Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Rennie Edo Lodge. Fantastic read. Don't be put off by the cover. And if you are put off by the cover, maybe you should read it. Natives by Akala. If you don't know who Akala is, he's an amazing MC, intellect. His mind, the way his mind works is fantastic. If you want to Google him and see him put any BBC or news journalist to shame, it's absolutely amazing. And I tell you what,
one of the best fire in the booths I've ever heard. If as a hip hop fan, so it's like people instead of me and this and that and the other and Rex Free to whatever, his fire in the booth, phenomenal, just phenomenal.
It was like there was fire, like all over the booth.
What
he's done. Like I love his arc. I love his story. But so there's some recommendations, and I'd like to big up POC. So POC is a community that I'm part of, headed up by it's started as a WhatsApp group created by Nana Bemper and Kevin Morowski, who two incredible individuals. There's a lot more people which are involved and help, but who do the hard work to make sure our community is represented the best that we can be and strive for within the industry. And that's from everything from from where the creations happen at the agencies all the way to the floor, as well as fashion photography, loads and stuff covering all bases. So I'd like to give a shout out to POC, and as well if you are fall within the black, brown, or basically if you're not white, look at POC. We are POC.com. It's a brilliant community that supports each other. We've had some amazing things.
I gave him a Familiar. So Sasha Nathwani from Familiar did a couple of weeks back now. That was one of his outro shouts. So all that week I gave We Are POC, PACC.com, the shout out. So it's just, it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing, and actually, what is it, 2000? It's not that old, and it feels like it should have been around for a lot longer.
Yeah, I mean they're doing amazing work. I wish I haven't been as involved as I could have been, and I really want to now get more and more involved. Amazing. And more it's just a brilliant support network for a lot of people. It's nice to have a space where you can just chat to people and not know that you're going fucking crazy. Have somebody that's going through the same shit as you, that you can talk about these things and air these things in the community as well. I think one of the most things which is most paramount is that we respect and value each other's opinions. Even though we are black, brown, Asian, it doesn't mean that. Of course, it doesn't mean we all see eye to eye on every little point, and sometimes there's debates and stuff. But we sort of really drive home the importance to listen to each other and understand where each other's coming from. And I think if we could take that attitude and apply that to a wider world, then and on set and stuff, then I think we're onto a winner. So POC, massive shout out to POC and all the talented souls that are involved in it. Big up to Jack Carr, my partner in crime, aka Mr.
Lyrics.
I love you.
Mr. Lyric. Love that guy.
And I'd like to give another shout out as well to my sister. She's a spoken word poet, activist. Check it out, Miss Yankey on Instagram. MISSYANKEY. That's YANKEY. So all the production managers that keep on putting my name wrong on a call sheet, look at my email address and then look at my name. That they should match. Okay?
Yeah, cool. I get it all the time with my first name. I was like, you've just spelled my first name in the email, and it's like I'm getting ISSOUSKO and some with an A. It's cool.
I've got more of a chip on my shoulder than you, obviously. But check out Miss Yankey. She's very powerful,
amazing. Oh God, love it. Film gods, clap for the end, ladies and gents. Mr. Ato Yankey, yeah. Look, thank you so much for your time, man. It's been amazing hearing your story. It's been amazing hearing your passion, and I've just really appreciate you kind of giving your time, which I don't even know. It says an hour and 35 now, which is way longer than I anticipated. So thank you for not just hanging up on me, dude.
I mean, by the time you cut out all the shit It'll be 20 minutes.
Sourdough. People that are listening now won't know about the sourdough story because it won't be in. But I'm telling you, it was a cracker.
Save it for the director's cut.
And look, listeners, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate everyone's kind of been listening through lockdown. There's, people are coming back to work. Everything's starting to slowly come back, and conversations are happening. And we should be talking amongst each other about everything and becoming a community and becoming a film family that is able to speak freely and to be themselves and be able to grow and give each other the help that everyone needs. And I just want to send lots of love out to you all. Before I kind of ramble on for too much, I'm going to cut it there. I'm going to say my thanks. And ladies and gents, until we meet again, that is a wrap. So that was a chat with the king or queen. In the game, I'll give it a shout at the end so you all know the name. It's the Film Gods Podcast. The what? The Film God Podcast. Yes. So here we go. The outro, as promised. Every single person, every one of you 108 beautiful people that has dropped some cashish into the sponsorship. Here we go. So Phil Juma, Johnny Dunn, Gemma Talon Talks, Harriet Staples, Erin Large, Dan Giblin, Ev Carreno, Mama Papa, Sudi Tris, Duncan Hodge, Ian from Chefs on Location, David Callan, Sean Cotter, the Capo Regime, James Fries, George Casavetti, Aaron, Aaron Woodbridge, the medic that saved my feet on the day, Miss Katie Smith, Dave Stocks, Jenny John Schwan, Sarah Brixton, Charlie Henderson, Joe Jameson, Mahilana, Colin Hodge, brother-in-law out in Texas, Yeehaw, Nicola Dempsey, TK, Thomas Kelly, Harry Flinder, H-Town, Maddie Easton, Callan Toms, Lucy Lou Kelly, Alice APC Carter, Luke Goodrum, Jason Bradley, Gwen and Galito, Jono Yates, Carlin Katie, Adrian Smith, Matty Marsden, Mark Gibson, Helen Ball, Alexandra Volkul, Mikey Lavelle, Cat in the Hat Neighbour, Ahmet Hussein, Sam Brown, Coolbox, Matt Roundel, Robbie DeGale, Emma Garrett, Gareth Carruthers, Robbie and Nikki, Big Love, Steve Colgrave, Jess Wiley, Eve Coles, Jess Horn, SJ and Rob, Keep Safe, Jonathan Sidwell, Sam Jackson, John J. Driscoll, Steve Caducci, Luke Fraser, James Collins, Katarina Armour Brown, Daisy and Alex Bates, Tony Crouch, Dave Fogarty, the man that wrote this tune, ladies and gents, Mr. D-Grade, Claire Legg, Brett and Rachel Levy, Gwen and Carlito, Brian Goldstone, and Andy Hodge, Kat Irvine, Nick Barber and Flo Ryder, Nick Forrester, Sion, Sammy C, Alan Convey, Nick and Kath, Hannah Draper, Georgie Buxton, Jamie Russell Flint, Johnny Don, again dropping double bizzle, Russell Curtis, Cy Lakos, Lucy Gossage, Max Methley, Ed Kello, Clara Paris, and Will Nichols. Ladies and gents, 108, we're going to keep it going for another week. Wow, I feel like I should have wrapped it a little bit. Right, so Harry Flinder, Callan Toms, Lucy Kelly with the Jason Bradley and Adrian Smith, Mike Marsden and Marky Gibbs. I should have figured out what rhymes. Well, look, ladies and gents, thank you so much. If you're still listening now, I feel like J. Cole, ultimate outro crew. Big love. See you soon. If you're still listening. Oh, imagine there's probably going to be no one listening to this right now. I'm basically talking to myself. But the walk was tough. The walk had its moments. It started well. Got to Black Island after about 6 hours, which it was so hot. It was just so hot, and I had to stop and get more water. Got to Black Island. Sam Jackson was there, PM and a job, and Ron just had like a bag of tricks, Lucas Aids and all the bits and bobs and everything there to to help me get through. So for him, I will be eternally grateful for kind of making me feel like it was the start. And then Jay Lusser turned up at Black Island and just pushed me, because I could have just walked that I felt like I wanted to just start walking once I left Black Island, but he pushed me and had such a speed on him. It was great. Got me up and over that South Circular. Got to Kew Bridge, jumped on the towpath, and then about 4 hours later, 3-4 hours, got to Richmond, and Will Nichols then was there as a saviour to help me when I was it was all starting to become physically and emotionally really tough. So Jay, Will, Aaron, Ron, if you're still listening here, you have got a very special place in my heart that will never disappear. That will never ever disappear. So you gentlemen are scholars and angels amongst men. Got home, the wife had kept the kids up, all got a little bit emotional, but big love. Thank you all so much for the money, and bring it on. Let's see what we can do next year. Big love.